I have with me the wonderful, amazing coach, consciousness coach, and author Arshia Seth. So I have done my uh, access bars and access facelift training from Arshia, and I have seen amazing changes in my life and in my husband's life as well. Uh, so here we are today to understand what is being mean and what is the power of being. So, Arshia, can we have a conversation on this? And would you like to
Sure,
explain?
sure, Divya. Thank you so much for that beautiful brief introduction. Hello, viewers. So good to have you all here if you're watching it now or you may be watching it later. And we had an amazing time, Divya, in those two classes, right?
Yes,
Bars and facelift that you attended, and
yes,
especially the facelift class. I remember so,
it is. Yes.
distinctly. You were just non-stoppable. You were a laughing riot in the class.
Oh my God, I still giggle when I remember that day.
Think
And
about it.
I had shared the video that you had uploaded on Insta. I had shared it with one of my friends. And she
Okay.
was like, initially, I didn't understand what is happening with you. But then I was like, okay, there's something happening with you. Like, you were in other zone. You were not
Yeah.
truly yourself that day. That is what I got as a feedback.
Okay. So, can I ask you before I answer your question about the power of being?
Yes,
When your friend said you were not you, what did she mean? Were you greater than what you usually are, or you were not being yourself?
I was not being myself. Meaning, they have not seen me that way. That is
Yeah.
the,
So can I conclude here that you were being way better, greater, and bigger than what usually are?
yes, you can.
Yeah.
It
So
makes me feel lighter.
makes you feel lighter. So it's a truth.
Good. Yeah. So I really now understand that what does making me feel lighter and heavier mean, and I also understood that my body has been giving signals before my mind could find out.
So
That is
amazing,
one
Divya.
thing. Yeah, that is one thing I learned. So there are times when my body feels heavy. All of a sudden, I did feel some goosebumps or something, and then I realized that there is something that my body is trying to tell me,
Yeah.
and I do listen to it, and I do
Amazing.
ask it that why are you feeling that way, and I do get answers, and that
Hmm.
has helped me solve some of my uh, questions which were initially unanswered, but now I'm getting answers for that.
That's so amazing. And plus, what you just shared about your husband's blood pressure, would you want to share that in brief with our
Yeah.
audience?
So my husband comes from a family where the blood pressure. There have been issues with blood pressure and diabetes and all that. And ever since I've known my husband, I have always seen that his blood pressure has always been about 130.
Okay.
Okay. And just before I gave him the facelift, he once complained of massive headache, and I asked him to check his blood pressure because I did feel that the headache is because of the increase in blood pressure. And when he checked that day, the blood pressure was 139 by 96,
Oh,
which is
that's
not
good.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I told him that, and that day he was not with me. He was in some other place, and he was going to come back to me in about 3 4 days. He was going to come back. So that day I told him, just be receiving of some energy. I'm going to do an energy contribution to you to uh, have uh, to have your blood pressure in normal levels with ease. And for the 3 days where he was not with me physically, so I was 3 days I continuously gave him the energy contribution. And after he came here, I gave him the access facelift with the intention of normalizing his blood pressure with ease. And I gave that session. After that, when he went back again, It's not only that day. After he did feel relaxed that day, but when he went back again, I asked him to keep monitoring his blood pressure for a few days, because if there is some problem, then we will take some medical help also. But after that, when he did check his blood pressure for the first time in this 8 years of my marriage, I saw his blood pressure as 126 by 84. He himself
Normal.
was surprised. It was normal.
And it was
I
only with facelift or access bars both?
I did access. I used to give him access bars before that, but that day with an intention, I gave him access facelift for
Okay.
the physical thing. And he himself was surprised because he has also never seen his blood pressure below 130. It
And he
has
takes
always
pills
been with.
also? He takes
No,
medication also?
no, no, no. We have been sort of because he considered that his normal blood pressure is like 130. That was he considered, and even the doctors told him that because you have an history, family history, and all, so it could be high. But then and what happens is that with blood pressure medication, if you start it, it is difficult to stop. You cannot stop it. It has its adverse effects.
Hmm.
So we were like trying to have a good lifestyle and all that. And since now he is doing things which he likes, so we tried, let's try something like that. But even after that, due to certain situation, I don't know exactly what his blood pressure rose. But now it is down. And he says
And it
that
is maintained. And it is maintained there. It
it
is
is
so
mental.
beautiful. It is so beautiful and
And
heartening to hear this from you,
yeah,
Divya, because you come from a pharma background.
correct.
Can I ask you to introduce yourself in brief that you are a PhD, I
Yes,
guess. Maybe I don't know
yes,
completely. Would
yes,
you like
yes.
to?
So, as I told you, my name is Divya Dodi. Actually, it is Dr. Divya Dodi. I am a PhD doctorate in pharmacology. And
Wow.
I have been working with a reputed pharmaceutical company for the past 8 years. It's 8.5 years actually. And even my husband, he comes from the same background. He is also a PhD, a doctorate from in pharmacology, and he also was working for the pharmaceutical company. And we do have knowledge about science. We do have knowledge about medication, about health issues, what should be done, what cannot be done, and all that. But in spite of that, we are also in this journey of healing ourselves and our loved ones with energy. Because we both started the journey together, me and my husband, frankly, and we have seen massive differences, changes actually. Sorry, changes not only in ourselves but also to the people whom we give healing
Sessions.
or sessions. So I initially started with Reiki, as I had told you earlier, and even my husband. We have done 3 levels of Reiki. We are masters in Reiki. And then after that, once I took access bar therapy for myself for a situation that I was in, and I got results in 2 3 months. I will not be talking more about it, but that is something that stayed with me. And
Ah,
after that, I was having an intention of I will learn about access bars. I didn't know about facelift that time. I only knew about bars because that is the therapy that session I took. And but after that, I had conceived and I was with my child. I was working and lost myself thoroughly in all the domestic chores and everything. Uh, I don't know this year what happened. Somewhere I found I wanted to do something for myself. I had not even done Reiki for quite some time actually. And I was having sciatic nerve issue. My leg was always in pain, but I was working with that pain. I just ignored it. I typically I think our woman deals with pains that is वो होता रहता है जाने दो करके and you go get doing your work. You give time to your child and everything. And I was like, one point came that why am I doing this?
mm,
I didn't understand why am I doing this. And I said I wanted to do something for myself. I wanted something. I am losing myself.
Mm.
So
That's a
that is
brilliant
when,
point. That's a brilliant point you brought up, Divya. I am losing myself. Now,
yeah,
that is exactly when one has this awareness. So, looks like you're not going to interview me, I'm going to interview you. No,
yeah, it looks like
it's a,
that.
yeah, but it's such a beautiful conversation and such beautiful shares and magical shares from you, Divya. I couldn't stop listening to them. Before we go on to this, before you lose yourself, how is your sciatica after access bars and facelift?
It is, it is very well. Actually, I'll tell you
Is
what.
it gone or is it still there? Maybe little ratio or whatever. Is it completely gone?
It is massively. It has reduced. I'll tell you one
Okay.
thing. Okay. So and before the facelift, I'll tell you one thing. When I enrolled for the bars class, that was the day I again started Reiki. I asked the universal energy to help me,
Hmm.
and that gave me effect also. And
Hmm.
then when I did the bars, after that, the nerve issue has reduced massively also.
Wow. Wow.
And I can, one thing, what is fascinating with bars and facelift is that when I am giving it to somebody, I
Hmm.
am giving the session to somebody,
Hmm.
I can feel the energy flow throughout. Here I can
On your
feel the
body?
energy on my body. Yeah, I can
Wow.
feel it. And because I can feel it, I feel I became a more of a believer in that.
Amazing. So that is the reason, Divya, you with these magical shares, you coming from a pharma background and you are a doctorate, you and your husband have seen these miraculous changes. And then you just brought a prominent point here. I was losing myself. This is exactly where I bring this point of power of being you. So when you had that awareness, I was losing myself in day to day life, in day to day chores, like you mentioned, with the child, with the job, with managing the household and the job and everything, and family, extended family. So we know there is lots to do in a day. There are a lot of responsibilities to be delivered. Correct? However, if you begin to lose yourself, you begin to create these problems that you just mentioned. And the first signal that body does is starts giving you all these problems like आपके केस में हुआ sciatica nerve का, your husband shooting BP, and maybe the crankiness in the child, the crankiness in you, and all of those things. So you see so much relief with access bars and facelift that you've already done. What happens is my you must be wondering what happens that somebody begins to lose themselves.
Mm.
Now I have a question. Do you feel that being more of you after these two classes?
Yes, yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes. I I am starting to understand myself more.
And
So I've got clarity on what I like, what I dislike, what I want to do, and
correct,
which path should I take.
correct.
So there's a lot
Now
of clarity.
correct, and you already got started getting a hang of it. That which path you should take, where you should move forward, and it's a kind of investment in self,
Sure.
knowing self. Now the question that is, how does one begin to lose itself? This entire path of beginning to lose yourself starts very early in your life when you're a child, because when you are a child, if you look at your own child, a child is bubbly, playful energy, right? Full of energy.
Hmm.
However however when people start telling that child the no's, the do's and don'ts, the rights and wrongs, and that if a child is not coming up to the expectations of the adults, that's where the labels and definitions come in. Just an example: you're not good, you're not good enough. If a child has scored less, you are not doing well, you are stupid, you
Hmm.
can't do that, it's
Hmm.
not your cup of tea.
Mm.
All of these, if you don't study, you will end up being a cobbler on the road. Just an example. This is how a lot of adults today have heard all of this as a child. Is that correct, Divya? सुनिए ये सारी बातें हमने.
Yes,
Correct? Now,
yes,
imagine, just come to think of it. Today you are a PhD, but and today I am a facilitator. But when we have grown up, we have heard all of these things. If our grades have not been good, if we have not really turned out well on the expectations of adults, you are. We have been labeled. We have been defined as not so good child, as not a uh, you know uh, competent child, not a a good performer. So not lot of not good, not good, not good. Lot of times when adults, when child is dealing with adults, there is a lot of things. This is wrong with you, this is wrong with you. That's what the adult says to the child. And then what happens is the child gets all of that wrongness locked inside. And so, if you see that promotional video, the child is pure energy, the white energy. And as you move on the pathway of life, you meet one person with those stripes. So,
mm,
whatever that person says, that becomes your life. That's where the point of views come from. So, if suppose somebody said to you or to me, you're not doing well, you're not doing enough, look at that other child, look at Mr. Sharma's son or daughter, he's such a brilliant, she is such a brilliant child, look at your grades. Now what does that make you feel? What does that make you feel? Not good.
not option. It's
Yeah.
it's it's like abuse.
Thank you. It's like an abuse, because it's, you are made to see yourself as a failure, as a failure.
Correct.
So when that is the time when you are judging yourself heavily that you did not score well, and then there is an entire family all around who is actually pointing fingers at you. You are stupid, you can't do this, you're not good enough, you're not competent enough, we are providing you with all the resources, you don't know how to use the resources, there is some flaw in you, there is something wrong with you. All of those things begin. Does that happen? And
Yes.
then the as the young child moves on further, this is at one stage. Then there is at another stage on the life path. Probably again something happens. The child has not, again, or say a teenager has not really fallen again up to the expectations of the adults or the society around. Again, few fingers pointing at them, at the teenager. Now that also the teenager is going on. So if you see that video, the promotional video, that one child who's growing, and just taking patterns and definitions and projections and judgments of everyone in the family and in the environment. By the time the child goes in the end, that white energy has turned black.
But that is true. It was a correct depiction of what we go through. The
Correct.
promotional video was on that. It was absolutely true.
And that is the truth which a young adult or a child who's probably just 2 years old or 3 years old, as the child grows, as a young adult, you are not a functional adult. So, have you seen a lot of adults who probably maybe making money, not making a lot of money, have lot of job related issues? They cannot stick to one job for a
Yes.
long time. They go
Yes.
on changing their jobs, and then all my bosses are always bad. My bosses are always like cruel, not good. Now,
Correct.
the dysfunctional adult cannot see at himself or herself what is going on within, because there is so much of this preconditioned projections, judgment, definitions, which is now part of the energetic system. that the truth of that being is lost.
True.
Why do you think a child is actually called the embodiment of God, next to God?
Yes.
बच्चे भगवान का रूप होते हैं, बोलते हैं ना लोग.
बोलते हैं, and because they are very pure, full free of
Pure.
judgment.
Correct. But by the time they grow and they become an adult, they are like this full-fledged burden, carrying the burden of other people's point of views, their rejections. Most importantly, a child feels rejection and abandonment. With these kind of things that
Hmm.
is being projected on the child as in the growing age, in the growing up years, the child feel rejected because
Hmm.
heavily judged. There is a
Correct.
lot of projection from the society, from the family, because the child is not really coming up to the expectations of what they expect, in terms of grades or in terms of life, whatever is expected. So those judgments, projections, and expectations that the child feel he or she cannot meet, the child goes into wrongness. मेरे अंदर ही कमी है. I am only wrong. There is some flaw with me. That's what the child begins to understand and believe that. Now, this actually creates a friction between the being and the entire identity of that being. That is where you begin to lose yourself, because now what you have created is rejection for self and separation with self. And then what arises is money related issues, financial issues. Because when no matter how good a job is, how good, uh, you know, uh, how good grades you have got, and you have got a good job, if you cannot carry on for that job for a longer period and there comes a friction or some political situation in a corporate setup, which is very common, you again begin to judge, oh, maybe I'm not good enough, I am not competent enough, or you will blame the person outside, because then you come into this reaction mode. I always end up with bad bosses. Now, the same reaction, the same rejection and separation shows in family as well. The disharmony that comes in the family with the spouse, with the parents, with children, that begins to show up. So
Correct.
as a result, the person doesn't have a peace and joy in professional setup, and the person also doesn't have a peace and joy in personal life.
Personal.
Now, what is required here is to look at yourself where the adult cannot manage his or her own emotion and mental state. And so we see a lot of adults, they are adults in age, in the chronological age, but they actually behave like child. Have you seen these adults around you? I have seen many.
Yes. Yes. I've
Yeah.
seen that kind. Yes.
So chronologically, they may be like 60, 70, 80, but when you interact with them, they appear to be like maybe a 8 or a 12-year-old. What happens there? Because as a child, the child when the child was growing, the child is only brought to contract, losing its authentic self, losing its the essence of very being. Now, what is being? What is the power of being? The power of being, Divya, is when you are being this expanded self, full of you. Now, full of you, by full of you, I don't mean that you're feeling high handed. No, full of you, when we talk about, people have a lot of confidence related issues. People operate out of fear, people operate out of doubt, lack of self confidence, lack of self esteem. Where do these things come from? It comes very early on, and it goes on and it grows with time. It just grows with time.
I can relate to that.
You can.
Yes.
You've seen people around you, right?
I've seen myself that way.
I think you've seen yourself. So when your being is not complete, when your being is not, so if I were to ask you, Divya, how much, if just in a flash of a second I ask you, How much do you feel you are being your authentic self out of 100%? What is the first number that comes to you?
80. Now 80.
Now 80. After the classes, after bars, facelift, and after the classes. Prior to that,
Less than 50.
less than 50, correct? So now, because you are gradually coming, stepping into your power, you have already stepped into your power to a larger extent.
Hmm.
Yeah. Now, this is exactly where you claim your power back. This is what the power of being you is. When you claim your power back, which was lost very early in childhood, and it went on and on and on till someone hits a 40 or 50, and then the bulb goes up, then the bulb goes on. Oh, there is something here which I need to address, which a lot of people don't even get the bulb on because they feel the world is wrong.
Correct.
They feel, yeah, you were saying something?
Yeah, so that is what happens. Like, because, as you said, my bulb went on, and thankfully, it went on at when I'm still young. I'm very young right now. I consider myself that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you are.
But that is required to change
Correct.
yourself. And many people don't get that point. Meaning, after the bars and facelift class, now the same people that I interact with, but I see them in a very different light. Like, they still have not got that awareness that there is something that they need to change in them.
Hmm,
Thankfully, I did get it that no, something needs to change in me. This is not how I should be going.
correct. Have you also noticed people become rigid with time?
Of course, very much, very stuck.
So,
Absolutely, don't relent.
so there is resistance to change
Hmm.
because they are so detached from their being, from their true authentic self, that they cannot see what is going on with their own self. And then the entire world becomes their enemy. Like they
Correct,
think that everybody
correct.
is against me, everybody, nobody is having my back. Now, this is the first sign of victimhood. People always treat me bad. People always treat me in an unkind manner. I am not treated well. People always judge me. Before anyone else outside does that to you, you are doing it to yourself. And you don't even want to see, don't even want to look at, and you are unaware of it.
So, just I would like to say something on this. So, initially, I thought that the belief that like some people are rigid or stubborn in that, it's because of the environment that they are born and brought up with, that they have become like that. But now, to I start to think about it, that it is not always that way. They chose to become that.
Correct. Correct.
They are not choosing to change.
Yes.
They whatever they have become, they chose to become that way.
Correct.
And this
And
is
they
where
choose to, and they choose to stay that way without
correct,
changing. They choose to
correct,
stay that way. So
correct.
if you see that animated figure who was a white light is going on walking and taking other people's impressions, the stripes, all those impressions that other people are telling, that other people are voicing or implanting in that being, the person is just going on taking, just going on taking. So when you said environment, yes, the environment may or may not be conducive, but you always have a choice to create an environment, to have an environment for you which is kind and conducive for you. Every being has that choice, every being.
True.
So if somebody is blaming that I never got a environment where I could feel nurtured or kind or taken care of, the child, as a child, I understand. That's why a lot of adults have unmet childhood needs which have not been met. As a child, it has not been met. So they have drawn their own conclusions, they have drawn their own decisions they have made. Oh, I will never get this. I don't deserve kindness. I don't deserve care. I don't deserve love. And that's why a lot of people also say, I'm unlucky in love. I'm unlucky in
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
You've heard
मेरा
that?
नसीब ही खराब है.
मेरा
I
नसीब ही खराब है.
very
Correct.
often.
मेरा नसीब ही खराब है. एंड मेरा तो कोई काम एक बार में बनता ही नहीं है. आई एम अ जिंक्स. मैंने कितने लोगों से सारी चीजें सुनी है. And that they are, what they are doing is, they are, instead of changing, they are resisting the change, and nothing changes in their life. In fact, as they grow in life, things become intense. They become intense because as a child, probably the intensity was not much, but now as a full-fledged adult, above 20, 25, 30, 35, the things are showing up more intense on their face in professional life, in personal life, in the environment. And then also, if they don't choose to have their authentic being, the power of their being, because your power of being does not need approval and validation from outside world, does not even need approval and validation from your own self. When
Correct.
you stand in your power, when you stand in your power, you know what is possible for you, and you know everything is possible for you as an infinite being. That is the power of being. And that somebody experiences when they choose to step into that power. That requires courage. That requires courage.
Yes, it does. It's not easy to let go something that you have been holding on for so many years.
Correct.
It requires a lot of time.
Absolutely. So amazing. It's 9:15. We have had such a long conversation. And this is such an interesting conversation. So I think you asked the question, what is being you about, or the being you class? Would you like to know, Divya, what it is?
Yes. Yes. What is this class? How what is the benefit that we are going to get? What are we going to get from this class?
So, with this class, which is a 2.5-day adventure of being you adventure, is where you begin to see all of those skeletons that you have hid in the closet, that you have pushed under the carpet. I don't want to look at it. I can't look at it. I can't address it. You'll have to, they will all come out. Because until you look at them, until you see them, you will not be able to make friends with them. And they are part of you, by the way. It is like a good part of you have shoved under the carpet and you don't want to look at that. So, are you complete or are you incomplete with that part not being with you but under the carpet?
It's incomplete. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
So it is your energy
yes,
which is unaddressed, and it is just lying there crying like a baby. It is demanding your attention, but you are too busy looking at the world and the environment, the way world is treating you, the way you become that, you fall into that loop of victimhood, that I only have these problems, whether it is money related problems, relationship related problems, a lot of stuff creating in the body. When you're not complete essence, you will create a lot of problems in your body as well, in terms of some of the other disease, aches, pains, intensities, or something going on with your body.
true.
Because that part of you is howling, is crying, look at me, look at me, look at me. But you don't know how to look at that. So the 2.5-day adventure actually gives you the blueprint of the power that you were born to have when you were born.
Mhm.
You were born with that power. However, over the period of time, in your growing up years, you left one, you started with 5%, losing 5%, 10%, 15%, 5%, 10%. So then what is left in the end is that very little part of it. You begin to gather all of those parts of you so that you can be complete you. Now, my question to you is, Divya, when you are this wholesome, complete you, stepping into your power, claiming your inherent potency, By inherent potency, I mean a lot of people in these classes have discovered, oh, I'd have this skill and talent and I didn't know about it.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
lot of
magic.
skills. It is magic. Lot of skills and talents are hidden from their themselves. Like somebody discovered, oh, I have this, I'm a multilinguistic person. I can actually interact in multiple languages. Another person discovered, I have this knack of, interacting with people and get business like this. But somebody may think, oh, I'll have to do a sales and marketing course or MBA in sales and marketing. Well, you can do that. Definitely you can go. But then there is a knack, there is a charm, there is an inherent power and potency that someone has, that when the person steps into it, the person knows how to wiggle his or her way and get the, deal done. Deal is locked. And that's a skill. So these are just examples. Lot of these talents and skill set have come into, because what happens is when you let go of all of those layers of lies and limitations which were blocking all that blooms is a flower of your own authentic self. You don't have to do anything for that flower to bloom. You just have to remove the weeds. The plant will grow on its own. Healthy plant. So we actually remove the weeds in this 2.5 days so that you can see your own light, so that you can step into your own power, which is like this big power. You made it small so that you can fit into everybody else's world. Isn't that insane and crazy?
It is
You make
amazing.
yourself small so that you can fit into your family's set box, you can fit into your colleagues, your friends, and your environment's box. You are this big power. That is what this class gives you in 2.5 days.
Wow.
And then we have one day adventure of, if somebody is looking to expand their business, have a knack of, uh, how to do a conscious business. So everybody understands the language of in business. Everybody understands the language. Oh, business is all about profit and loss. Business is not about profit and loss. Business is not about growth and, failing, non-growth. No,
Correct.
business is about nurturance. How, what a consciousness, what a person who's actually walking on the path of consciousness can have those tools to grow his her business, or the promotion or things growth in their job spectrum. And this is something which is done consciously, which is not taught. Relationships, relationship is only about, you have this role to play. Especially I'll talk about the spouse relationship. Husband has a role to play, wife has a role to play. Well, relationship is not about playing your roles or the gender roles. Relationship is about creationship together, because it's a partnership.
True.
it's it's a partnership between two people where they choose to walk together and create something together bigger, which alone they could not. So if you ask me, if or rather I will ask you, when two people come together, their life together should become bigger, expanded, or diminish or contract. I'm asking you.
Bigger.
Correct?
Expanded. Yeah.
Expanded. On the contrary, you see a lot of relationships not working.
Yes.
Yeah? Because people don't know. बोलते हैं ना, एक और एक 11 होता है. 1 plus 1 is 11, not 2. So what happens when people are not operating out of consciousness? They become 1 plus 1, 2. And they actually, those two also split. When there is a potency, when there is a possibility of 1 plus 1 actually becoming 11.
11.
Yeah, because you become a team. Yeah, both of you
Correct.
together become a team, and you should be creating bigger and greater. And when
Correct.
people don't know, that's why it is called creationship in relationship. People don't know how to do it consciously. So that two also split in two, and we know how many relations are actually working or not working. You know the reality.
Yeah.
That's about relationships. How to do the relationship in relationship. That's a one day adventure. Another one is body. Do you think body is meant to age and degenerate and fall apart and then make an exit? A lot of
Okay.
people, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me.
Good, good.
You have a question? You have a
No.
question?
So, as I told you, I am a science student. So, scientifically, we were told, yeah, that is what we learned, that we are supposed
Hmm.
to age
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
as you go older. We are
Hmm.
supposed to age, and the cells die. Eventually, everything will deteriorate, and then you leave.
Hmm. So tell me one thing, to die for something to come to end, does it really need to be deteriorated or diminished, or you can
No,
just choose to exit?
yes, that is also
So that
possible.
you have also seen people who just die probably walking on the road or maybe sitting at home having a cup of tea.
Yeah,
You have also
correct.
seen people who are not actually leaving their body and they are in and out of hospital or maybe on ventilator and actually, in a comatose state or paralysis or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, if I may say, it's a choice because those people have this point of view that body has to degenerate, decompose, be destroyed, and then only it has to leave and die.
Hmm.
That's a myth. That's a myth, and that is a point of view which is implanted, which many people cannot see. So they choose painful death. Suffering is the word.
Yes.
You need not suffer to make an exit. You need not suffer to die. Nobody needs to suffer to die. Death is very easy. Death is simple. So that's what these consciousness classes, especially the being you, when you are stepping into your power, you know how to how to deal with your own self and how to deal with the world. Not even deal, how to actually make your way smoothly
Correct.
and get your life bigger and greater and glorious. So I understand this has been a long call. Thank you, Divya. This was such an amazing conversation.
Yeah, it's always amazing to share things with you because I see. I didn't know this is going to happen this way.
I also
I
didn't know. I also didn't know.
I thought that you are going to introduce, you are going to talk about something about power of being you, and I'm going to listen. This is,
Yeah,
I would honestly say, this is the thinking that I came up with. So I
correct.
was like, okay, आपका चलता रहेगा. I'll see my daughter and all that. But I don't know. I didn't know that this is going to be a question answer interactive session. And you asked me that whether we can have that, and very with ease. Like this time, I didn't even give it a thought. And
Yeah.
चलो करते हैं हो जाएगा करके. And we did this for 1 hour. Cannot believe it. And trust me, my daughter is with me. But
Hmm.
in this 1 hour, she went to a neighbor's house. And that is,
Wow.
yeah, how it happened, why it happened, I don't know. Maybe
Okay.
because I chose them and the universe chose, okay, I want to do it. Let the daughter go to the other house so that they can take care of her and I can do something that I want.
And I
So,
know she doesn't leave you. She doesn't leave you. I know that. Yeah.
you know that at the start of this call, she was on my lap
Yeah.
and she just came back. You must have even heard in the call
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. When the call is just about to end. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
This is
So,
the magic of being.
this is the magic of being, and I don't know. So, something just helped me. I cannot
Yeah.
explain.
That you can call it universe, or because you were choosing this magic, you created.
Correct.
You
Yeah.
you
It
you
was
chose an
absolutely magical.
uninterrupted call. You chose an uninterrupted call without any distraction and disturbances. And look what you created.
Truly, truly.
That is what the power of being is, that you can weave magic, you can see magic with your eyes every day when you step into your power.
Ashia, every time I have interacted with you, be it for the class or this way, I have always experienced magic. Let me just tell you. Like
Wow.
this is
Thank you
one
so much.
example that happened now. In reality, you saw that.
Yeah, yeah.
But every time. So I think that my body wants me to talk to you, and I can feel that. So, yeah, so that's how it happens. And now she's sitting down and eating her food. There are others also, obviously, in this place,
Correct,
but she
correct.
is there. Like she's also trying to match with my energy. Like,
And
mommy is doing
yeah,
something.
yeah, she's not even disturbing you. Nothing
No,
she's doing. Otherwise, I know how clingy she is. She always wants to come on your lap and she doesn't. I know that.
and especially when I have a mobile in my hand,
Huh.
it's not coming here. That's something different.
And you're doing the call on mobile.
Yeah. Can I just
Yay!
share what she is doing? Is it okay? Like
Yeah, yeah,
she's
yeah. Yeah, yeah, please. Yeah.
that this is my daughter here, sitting all alone and
This
having.
little one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's busy. She's busy in herself. Wow.
So just
And
said
she's
hi.
waving. She's
Yeah.
waving. Hi. I've never seen this, Divya. I know there is so much change in her. By you doing the class, there's so much change in her.
Truly,
So,
I can sense
and
it.
believe me, Divya, when an adult chooses to step into their power, children learn it all by themselves because children just mimic the adults. You know that.
Yes. Yes, they do.
So,
And that's
this
why
will,
I think that is one trigger point that I got why I need to change myself, because I was like that if she's going to look at me this way and she's going to turn up this way, this is not something I would like.
exactly
So
because you're
I
a
know
role
how
model
to.
to her.
So that's why it was important for me to make this choice. And I
Amazing.
guess she is looking at me that.
Amazing. So, guys, 2.5 day adventure. We are just sharing before we wind up the call. 2.5 day Being You Adventure class is a 5 to 6 hours class for, 3 days. For 3 days, it's going to be 3.5 days. One, if somebody is taking one specialty, maybe body or relationship or money and business, whatever that somebody wants to work upon. So then it becomes a 3.5 days, which means 6 hours every day. Overall, it becomes 21 hours of facilitation, 18 to 21 hours of facilitation for 3.5 days.
Great.
So just ask people, whosoever is watching this, will it be fun? Can I be that catalyst of change in your life? Would you like to go ahead and choose this class? And 18 to 20 hours of facilitation. And with all the tools, this power packed class, what can it bring in your life? And how much power that you can step into, your own power, the authentic power which is available to you, inherent, just dormant, lying dormant inside. Can you step into that? You become this big, not in size, not in body size, but in your potency and power, unhiding all your skills, your talents which you have come with on the planet Earth. Cool. It was so much fun, Divya. Thank you so much for this
Same here,
wonderful conversation.
same. Absolutely lovely.
Totally grateful for this
Magical.
conversation. हमने सोचा नहीं था कि conversation कैसे जाने वाला है. And यार, it wasn't fun for me to go give ज्ञान. This was such a fun session, interactive. And thank you for your beautiful shares and magic that has already been showing up with bars and facelift. And the biggest is the daughters.
Correct.
We should these changes.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Maybe see you sometime, somewhere in some class or in person, and we'll connect. Okay?
Yeah, surely we'll do that. I'll surely come.
Sure.
Bye bye. Good
Bye,
night. Have a
darling. Bye,
bye.
everyone.